As a veteran, small business owner, what can we do for you?
What we can all do for all veteran business owners is promote each other.
My main mission was to look at tools of technology to leverage small business and give them more of a competitive advantage.
My mission for Veteran Bargains is very simple: to help vets.
That story in itself, to run for Vista City Council, is a journey.
I think this is an opportunity to really collaborate with those gone before us.
It's really kind of a labor of love.
And now your host.
Welcome back to the Veterans Radio Show. I hope you're having an amazing day, and thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. On our Veterans Radio Show, we talk with heroes in action, making it happen for our veteran community. And hello, I'm your host, Dali Rivera, and we want to welcome you to our live audience on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Amazon Live, and of course, our podcast listeners. We really appreciate you and your service. This is a Veterans Radio Show, and without you, we would not be able to bring to you this segment. So hit that subscribe button and please share this episode with another veteran, and let's hear your thoughts in the comments during the show. We love seeing your questions, so come on in for our guests and you ask questions away, right? And if you're watching the replay, ask questions anyway. So our sponsor today is Leaders Make Leaders, and our guest today is none other than the owner of Leaders Make Leaders, Yamil Cruz, who is a U.S. Marine veteran. So Yamil, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. How you doing?
Doing great. I'm so glad that you're back. I know that you've been here before, and we had to bring you back to learn more about what's going on with Yamil. What are you doing? So tell us a little bit about yourself for those of us who haven't heard of you before, and let us know what it is that you do.
Awesome. Yeah, like you mentioned, I'm a 12-year Marine Corps veteran, spent some time in the Marines. Young kid from Puerto Rico, born and raised out there. It was either go to college or continue college or join the military. And I realized I don't like school, so figured, let's go to the military, right? Little do you know, right, that you get to do a lot of studying in the military. But, that's my background. That's how I ended up in California. That's where I am located right now. And so I've been here for 13 years now and loving it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I love California, too. I'm in the East Coast now, and I miss it. But so you are from Puerto Rico, and you enlisted. So how long were you in the military, and what did you do?
12 years as a communicator. I was in the radio operations side. So, if it's a radio in the military that can talk, I can probably make it talk.
And I know that job is very intricate and long hours. So how did your military experience help you launch your business? Are there any experiences while you were serving that you use on a daily basis in your business?
Yeah, definitely. I think that as veterans, I think this goes across every branch of service out there. We are skilled, or we have a particular skill set that a lot of people don't have. And what is that we are instilled discipline, when they're in the military. Spirit the core, all of those core values that they teach us. But leadership is one of the bigger ones. I had the blessing of leading a lot of Marines in my time. I still keep in contact with a lot of them, even after the service. And I think that has been probably the biggest honor of my life, being able to mentor people to the point that, that turned into Leaders Make Leaders, right? Something that's one of my core beliefs. People can lead in any area of their life. And that kind of stemmed from that experience in the military.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that you named your business Leaders Make Leaders, because that's exactly what we are taught to do in the military, regardless of what branch of service we serve in. Mm-hmm. And that helps a lot with guiding people, mentoring them within your business, and watching them grow as well, right? I'm sure that you can relate to that. Yeah.
Yep.
So tell me, what challenges have you faced so far in your business?
I don't see challenge. I see areas of opportunities that we can always go and grow in. Particularly, right, everybody knows in the last 2 years we've been in this pandemic. Crazy things has happened. I got sick, I got the COVID, so I was out of the game for about a month and some change. Wow. That was one of the biggest challenges. But I'll tell you what happened. Something really unique happened with my particular business and the mode of business that we have, the modum operandum, is that because of COVID, we were forced to transition to do a lot of the things that we did in person online. And believe it or not, that was a blessing in disguise. You know, it was a thing that catapulted the business to grow even more than before. And we've been doing that ever since, having a lot of fun doing it.
That's a good point. I feel like a lot of people realized during this pandemic that, hey, I don't want to go to a traditional job. I'd rather go work for somebody like Yamil, and it's remote and you get mentorship. And I think that's a huge plus, right? Because in traditional places of employment, they either have a mentorship program because that's built into their systems, which is not very common, or you just have to find somebody on your own. And knowing what I know about your business, I know that there's a lot of mentorship going on. So how do you do the mentoring part in your business?
So yeah, when people get involved in our business, we have a system in place, and part of that system has to do with you working with somebody that has experience in our industry. You know, so we take care of kind of, you know, almost holding people by the hand and then showing them how things are done at the beginning. And you know, we learn by doing. So we get people involved right in there, getting things going for them so that they can experience it firsthand as a trainee, and then eventually they become fully independent. So, you know, it's really fun to do that. And, you know, one of the core beliefs that we have is that we don't build businesses, we build people, and people build the business, right? So we spend a lot of money, a lot of time pouring onto people as far as self development. You know, we recommend books. We sometimes even get them books. We have coaches, you know, from even outside of the company that have done great things and they're massively successful. And we don't mind, you know, spending the money so that we can bring them in and then pour into our people so that we can just make them better human beings. Really, it's all about that. If you're a better human, you can build absolutely anything. Doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. So tell us a little bit more about what your business is.
Yeah, so I'm actually partnered with a company that offers different types of products like insurance, investments, mortgages. So we have a team in our office, you know, that they're licensed to do some of those things in the market. And so the biggest thing that we really offer is the business opportunity. We allow people to come in and give them a, you know, straight out of the park, level playing field entrepreneurship opportunity where they can come in, and if they choose to, they can get to own their own branch. You know, a lot of people call us franchise ears, you know, things like that, because we kind of work in that model. But more than anything is to service the community. You know, we work on the education more than anything else. There's a lot of miseducation in the world and the community out there. So much information, right, in the social media or Google that people go and search. And because there's so much, they don't know where to go, where to turn to. And so that's kind of like the gap that we fill in the market. We come in as experts. We're professionally licensed in the state and the federal government, so you know, all over the United States, to do the services that we provide. And so somebody that gets with anybody in my team, they're working with someone that's a professional, that they've been properly trained, and they know what they're talking about, so that we can tailor what we do specifically for the family.
So to be more precise, you're in the finance industry, right?
Correct. Yeah, financial services.
Right. So what do you see is one of the most commonly asked questions within your field by the consumers?
Um, you know, just people just don't know. For example, you know, I'm in an area where there's a lot of Latino community, you know, Hispanic community. You know, East Coast is really big on this area too. And so there's a huge misconception of what can you qualify for and what you can't qualify for, as particularly in the Hispanic community. So, you know, people don't know. And so when we come in, we let them know, look, you can actually get this or that. You can get access to different areas as far as insurance or investing money. A lot of people come and ask about investments. I think everybody here is familiar with all of those apps that are out there that tell you, you know, invest your money and we'll give you a credit. And then people get involved, but because there's no training, they have no education, they don't know what they're doing, they end up losing thousands and thousands of dollars. So we fill that gap. We educate them on what's correct for them to do. We advise them on what they could do, and they can make informed decisions about their financial future.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of cultural barriers too that people face in the finance industry, trying to help people understand why you should invest, what investing is, and it can be so intricate. So tell me, so if people want to reach out to you, how do they do that?
Well, I actually made it easy for everybody. You can go to my link tree, which is going to be showed, somewhere in the screen. I think is a link tree / leaders make leaders, or you can go on any social media, with leaders make leaders all together and find me there. We try to post some value every single day, so that's the best way to get in contact with me. Typically, checking that. If not, somebody else in my team is checking it.
Thank you. Yeah. So let me just recap. Just if you just jumped in and you're watching, I'm speaking with Yamil Cruz, who is the owner of Leaders Make Leaders, and he's telling us about his amazing work that he does in the finance industry, helping people become experts and provide a service mainly of education to the public. And also he is a U.S. Marine Corps veteran. And he's also our sponsor. So thank you so much for sponsoring today's show. So let me go back to the military questions just to get to know you just a little bit more. If you were to tell your younger self in the military as a beginner, any type of advice, what would you give yourself as advice?
Create more connections. I think that the connections define the measure of success in anybody's life, whether that's business or personal. So I probably will go back and say, be intentional about creating more connections with people, more relationships, longer lasting relationships. Because of the high turnover that I had in the military, I got to deploy way too many times, more than I wanted to. You get to build relationships with people that you deploy with, but it was kind of always the same people. So I would expand outside of that circle. And definitely get more involved in military projects, things like, for example, the Chamber of Commerce, right? I don't think we even had a Chamber of Commerce for veterans when I was in. So I'm really excited when I saw, that you guys came up with this. So that's some of the things that I would do, because there is a big gap in the transition between being a service member and becoming a civilian in the workforce. And usually that gap exists because the relationship doesn't exist between the civilian sector and then what you were doing in the military. So I will definitely go back and say, do more of that.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I completely agree with you, because when I got out of the Army after 10 years, I looked back and I realized I had no connections whatsoever. And I don't know if it's because I was enlisted, because I definitely did notice that type of camaraderie and mentorship among officers. But I wish that somebody would have told me to make more connections like that, because it really, really helps. So thank you for sharing that tip. So we're gonna bring in Joe Molina, our founder, into the show. He has a few words to share. Joe, are you there?
I am here. And Jamil, it's so nice to see you again.
How you doing, Joe?
Good, man. It's been a few years since you and I connected at the Starbucks, and we chatted for a while, and we went back and forth and working some projects. So I wanted to again thank you for being a guest again, and always happy to bring you back, and also for your support, because I always get people that come from you, like and they say, "Oh, Jamal said to contact you for this or for that." So thank you very much. And what you and Dali were talking about right now is one of the reasons why we started the chamber, is because when we get out and we go back into our original place, there is nothing there again for us. We have to start all over again. So, as a chamber, we saw that gap and we took it on to kind of solve it. And that's when you and I talked before. We talked about the Heroes Welcome Program, which is now going along, because those connections are the ones that we need to connect with people like you. Connect with people like you who have an expertise, or connect with people like Dali, who has expertise in her area, or or Laura, or Michael, or Jamie. It's just connections makes the world go around. People think it's money, but it's the connections, it's the friendships that actually do that.
Yep.
So thank you again. Appreciate it.
No, thank you, Joe. Thank you, for the floor, and for the opportunity to get together with you guys. You're doing an amazing job. there's just a group of support that happens around veterans. Like for me, I have like the old guard, right, which is a bunch of veterans. We get together and we get to chat about different things. We have friends in business, civilian supporters. I have so many of those. I know my family's watching. So I thank them for their support. But I thank for people like you, because if you didn't have the foresight of creating something like this, I still remember when we got in Starbucks, right? There was no chamber. It hasn't even been started. We were just hoping that it would become something, and here we are today. With a show and everything.
Right.
So thank you for you and what you've been doing, Joe.
Now it's been an adventure of joy, and it's really a pleasure, and it's all of now when we started, and it's different now because we have so many people that are supporting the chamber and the programs of the chamber. So people like that support the show, like you, and like so many other people who really want to bring their story to the audience. So that's really cool. Now, really quick question for you before I give you back to Dali, because that's why they don't bring me on, because I just take over and I keep talking and but you talk about insurance. Does your insurance also covers medical insurance, or what type of insurance were you referring to?
We do senior healthcare insurance. So for seniors that go for Medicare, things like that, we do have a product in that area, but we focus mainly on the life insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance. We do different things in that area when it comes to the insurance. And like I said, add to that, we do investments. We also work in mortgages. What we really do, Joe, if I could summarize it, is we do a basic financial plan for people. So we kind of help them see where they are today, and then what things they could have, in the future if they implement some steps that they can just be consistent with. And so that's where the power of what we do comes from.
Okay, well that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, thank you very much, Jamil, and we'll be in touch. And I'm gonna give back to Dali so she can, she does a great job. So I'm just gotta stop and get out of the way.
Thank you so much,
Nice
Joe.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love having Joe in here. Yeah, thank you so much for pointing that out, all of the other different products that you offer. That way people can reach out, because I know that there are people who have heard about it, but they're scared, and they're scared because they don't really know what they're diving into. And that's why I like what you do, because you focus first on the education so that people feel comfortable when they make that decision. And that's really, really important, right? And that also ties into that, having that personal connection with the person, because business is all about those connections.
Yes.
So do you have any events or anything that we can support you in right now?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have going on this month for veterans only, 100% veterans, and only during the month of November, where we're going to sponsor the licensing for them to get involved in an industry like the one I am in. One of the things that I always talk about is, of course, leadership. You have to make sure that you think about growth. So there's a lot of people out there that are in the world that maybe you need some extra income, or you got laid off, or because of the situation in the world, you just can't work. So you gotta, make sure you have some growth in that area. But last and really most important one probably is that you need to learn to recognize opportunities. So there's opportunities right now for veterans, not just mine. There's many out there that people can reach out to. In our case, we definitely have an incentive that I hope everybody take advantage of. And on Tuesday, 7 p.m., we're actually going to be opening our meetings for anybody that wants to get some basic education on how the products that I mentioned work. So that's all going to be detailed, like I said, in my link somewhere in the screen. So just make sure that you guys follow that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I just have a few more follow-up questions. So if somebody, because you're based in California, so if somebody in New York wants to work with you, would they be able to do that?
Yep, anywhere in the United States, personally, but the company is also in Canada. So if there's any of our Canadian brothers, we can definitely connect you with somebody up there. We have offices, in Texas, Florida, in Puerto Rico. We even have agents in Alaska. So, it doesn't matter where you are in the United States, we can take care of you.
Wow, that is amazing, especially for the world that we live in right now, right? Yeah. So can you tell us again, where is the best place to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can go to my link tree, which is on the screen, Linktree/Leaders Make Leaders, or anywhere on social media with Leaders Make Leaders all together. That's the best place to find me at.
And last question, for those of people watching, maybe somebody wants to invest. What is a piece of advice or some words of wisdom that you would give them to get them to take that first step?
Well, first of all, find a professional. I'm a big advocate of working with a professional because, life gets in the way and sometimes we want to achieve some things, but because there's not a strategy in place, we don't get to achieve those. So find somebody like me. It doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be my company, but find somebody that has some experience in the industry that can give you a good advice on how to do that. And if I could give you an advice that maybe people might not agree with is stop listening to TikTok, and stop listening to like Google, because there's a lot of people that are going to give you information there. But look, guys, the reality is this, we're here to provide an education first, and then a service comes after that. And sometimes, people get it twisted when it comes to social media. So turn off the noise, go find a professional near you, ask questions. And if you don't have one, you can always reach out to me.
Exactly. There we go. I'm so glad that you mentioned that thing about TikTok, because my own kids have come to me and they're like, Mom, look at this. I can invest on this app. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it almost seems like a lot of people are targeting children or youth. Yep. Because they know that they're not well informed and they can pretty much scam them. So yeah, it's really important to, and that too, reach out to Yamil if you have teenagers who are interested, or if they're about to go to college because they need to be financially savvy so that they don't get duped, especially at universities when they're offering so many credit cards for the exchange of a darn t-shirt. So yeah, I've seen it all. So thank you so much, Yamil. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. And so yeah, if you're tuning in right now at the end, we just went over what Yamil does. He's a financial advisor, and he also mentors and works with teams to become also financial advisors through his business Leaders Make Leaders. So that's all the time that we have today on the show. And thank you, Yamil, so much for being here. Join us next Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And we want to thank you and Yamil for being our sponsor for today. And thank you for joining us. But most importantly, thank you, everybody, for your service. And now go thank your fellow veteran or military spouse before you do anything else. So until next time.